Skeet, skeet. Well, that was good and fun. Voltage is a little bit down. Let's, oh. I had it on low the whole time. So the magic switch that I was telling you guys about. You know, I was pretty happy with the power. It moved out. I was real happy that it was cold. I was on low. It was on turtle baby mode right now. I was really hoping baby mode would be like more like the other motor, but no. So it's a 3-speed, and that's what the other switch is for. It's for low, medium, and high. Hey y'all, I got this Razor Drift trike thing, and good bit of fun. Yeah, 2 problems. One, it's on the underpowered side. No, it has enough power to get the job done and have plenty of fun. But if you get one of these things, definitely plan on at least putting LiPo batteries in it. The lead acid batteries that it comes with are junk. You got fun for about 30 seconds and then it just goes power level. So get an e-bike LiPo 48 volt battery in it and have some fun. But good old eBay has these little brushless monsters, you know, $100 shipped, or like 113 or something with tax and stuff. But yeah, it's there's a fair difference in size there. 1800 watt, 4500 RPM. This is rated speed at 48 volts, but it's supposed to go up to 5600 RPM. Bamski, there's a motor if you're interested. But yeah, it's brushless, so there's no brushes to wear out on this thing. The only thing to wear out is the bearings, unless it, you know, physically comes apart, which, who knows? This stuff could be, you know, super high quality, it could be not. They seem fairly popular, so let's see. But yeah, it's a brushless motor with 3 wires, and we'll go into wiring later. And sensored, so it knows where the motor is. So at low RPMs, if it's slow and spinning slow, it doesn't try to advance the field, the magnetic field out too far and create heat and all that. So originally the motor fit up under the bottom like this and bolted on these 4 holes, and it was between the legs. This newer motor is so much longer, that's not going to work. And I got it, you know, I have a chain that runs right here off this tooth. And when you're looking to do this, it's a number 25 chain, so that's what you want to be compatible, 9 teeth. This motor, unbeknownst to me, came with an 11 tooth, which would be nice, because if this thing has plenty of torque, and I want a little more top speed for those, you know, sustained drifts, I can jump up to the 11, which, yeah, also the one big cool thing about all this is it has this chain tensioning job that goes here that helps tension the slack slide, the back side of the chain, which is the front side. So that's handy to have, and makes it where you don't have to have adjustment holes. So anyways, what I've done here is go to Harbor Freight, get yourself a $15 grinder. Angle grinders are very dangerous, so treat it with a lot of respect. $10 pack of blades, and you know, it's not the prettiest job, and I actually wasn't paying attention and cut into the fork, so I'll need to actually fix that when I have it welded up. But cut this backside out, and you can see it was like this. It had this flange bent down on here, which is a lot of strength. Corners are strength, so you're actually weakening it by cutting that out. That's why I didn't cut all the way into the corner here. I just cut the minimum out that I could get away with. So I figured the best way to locate this thing was get that same angle grinder out. I used to clear the notch to clear the motor here, which it looks like I did take a bit too much out. I could have left a little more meat in across here, but this plate takes up a lot and should add the strength back for me. If not, I'll find out when this bends down, because this is the tension side, so it's pulling here against the chain to drive the wheel forward, and this is the slack side. So I decided the best way to mount this was just literally to get that same cutoff wheel, or a grinder, put a cutoff wheel on it, cut a chunk of metal I had here down to pretty much about wide enough. I wanted to use my full length, so it had a tail that stuck down here. I wanted to get a little bit more here. I guess I misjudged it, but I just kind of eyeballed it, drew a line from looking down at the end, and just wanted to have enough width at least to make my motor mount fit. And that's kind of the thing, is work with what you got, what's available. The biggest thing in the end is the chain has to be straight and square in line. You can't have any dog legs in it. The axle shaft and the motor shaft, or I said that backwards, axle shaft and motor shaft need to be parallel. They can't be doing this thing, because you'll have the chain running to one side of one of the sprockets to the other. No dog legs. So as long as you get that right, you're fine. Like I said, you don't have to worry about slotting it, because as long as you get this in the right ballpark, the factory tensioner will take care of the slacky poo. So that's not a big issue. So I cut my plate like this, drilled out 4 holes in it. Obviously I wanted to use this one because one of the holes would have been by it. And then I put it up on here pretty much like this. The motor is resting on this arm here to try to keep it as close as possible so it wasn't swinging out. And then I just kind of sat here on my little stool and I looked down the chain line and I aligned everything up and had some C-clamps clamped down in here, got it in place. Once I had the plate C-clamped to the fork where I wanted it, I carefully unbolted the motor so I didn't knock the plate loose. The 2 holes that are at the bottom here, here, let's go ahead and pull this all off. The 2 holes at the lower section, the 2 lower holes, that's a munker. That's definitely barely a one-handed motor. These ones, once I got it all in place, I was just able to, like I said, C-clamp in here, took the wheel out of the way, and then just reached through, and I took the same drill bit that I got to the big size here to fit the hardware that came with it. I just ended up using that same drill bit, and I just did a little light reach through so it's centered on the outside of the big part of the hole that I already drilled, and I just made little dimple marks down in this plate. I didn't grind any of this clean for painting yet, so I had nice powder coat. One trick is get in your arts and crafts box, get one of these silver pencils. They're the bee's knees for writing on bare metal if you don't have a soapstone, and I think they work better than a soapstone. So anyways, by just drilling that center dimple, it gave me a nice centered pilot hole in here. Then you don't punch through a piece of metal with a big old bit to start with. You switch back to your pilot bits. I drilled both these out, stepped up to size multiple bits, and then once I did all that, I put it back on, loosely bolted up with another C-clamp. And then, I'm sorry, the camera's trying to escape. Once I got it, I bolted it all back up with just a single C-clamp this time. Rechecked my chain alignment. When I got all that right, I unbolted it carefully again so I didn't move the plate, and then replaced it with these 2 sacrificial bolts that are in there for the weld job. So right now we're actually at the point of getting this thing welded up, and then we'll clean it up and paint it. Alright, I just wanted to show you guys how I got this back from the welder. You know, half decent weld job. They just hired a new guy, and I think they're trying to get me to pay his whole day's wages for part of them, because they charged me $105, or tried to charge me $105 for this. And that really blew me away, because the same shop charged me like $30 or $40 to shorten a kickstand a couple of months ago on my motorcycle. So yeah, it's not that I'm bummed about the weld job. Seriously guys, $105 when I did all the prep work and grinding and all that, that's a little bit much. I'm just a dude trying to build stuff. So anyways, if you run a shop, try to remember, don't do that stuff, because it leaves a bad flavor in your mouth. And if somebody asks me if they recommend a welding shop and they need something done like trailer work or something like bigger jobs that pay, I won't send them to that shop, because they tried to gaffle me over a small job. What are they gonna do me on a big job? Anyways, I'm gonna go out and end the rant here and radius all my corners and flatten this off and make good use of these flapper wheels I got. This nice little 10 pack from Harbury Freight. So I'm gonna grind it first, radius my corners, and then kind of step through these flapper wheels and hopefully get a nice job. In the meantime, we're running the laser. Here, show you guys, get my goggles on. Printing a little whiskey container for a friend. Shove you guys down in here so you can take a little peek, a little sideways here, but that's the laser running away. Ba-choo, 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 ba-choo. Laser running away. Doing its lasery thing. So anyways, I'm gonna get to grinding while it's still relatively cool out. All right, so you guys should probably note my completely questionable safety decisions and adjust your own standards accordingly. So anyways, like I said, we're gonna work on cleaning this thing up. I can't one-hand it on. So kind of like old Henry Ford himself, I paint black. I'm not a paint man. I paint for rust protection. If I wanted something nice, I would take it to somebody that's what they do. So yeah, I paint for rust protection. Henry Ford painted black. A lot of people think it was because it was the cheapest color. Well, he wanted one color so that way it was just easier to paint, line, assembly. That was his whole trick of making the assembly line. But he went with black actually because it was the fastest drying. I like black just because it makes things disappear, especially like on chassis and under works, and you know, it's just a simple, nice color. So black it is. I wonder if I got running with my new motor. Probably not. Those things go past boogie pretty good. Probably should have hit this first pass a little lighter, but oh well. China was very nice. They sent all these extra rattly bits along with the fork. So anyways, like I said, my original plan of keeping this a little bit higher just for more foot room is not going to really work, so I'm going to tuck it down. It's going to make the wiring a little more crowded, like I said, but put it here on the bottom, plenty of room. So at this point, I think I need to get in here and cut this tab ski off and get him out of the way. And then once I do that, I could put a couple of nut zerts like I did here. I'll show you guys that here in a second in the frame. All right, so went and cleaned off this mount here, and while I was at it, I cleaned off a few of these along the bottom, and I wanted the bottom smooth just for general purposes. I just wanted it cleaned up because I'm not using them anymore. I don't like the idea of routing wires underneath in case you do go off something or dragging in and out of the truck or whatever. I want the bottom clean, not snag free of wires. So I put a nut zert in the bottom, one of these beautiful things. You get away from me, you buy them, they're, I think I paid something around 20 cents a piece for them. I bought 100. These are really handy. You don't need a special tool to put them in. I'll show you how to put them in just a second. But what I did is I think easy. So it's really easy to locate this hole because it's easy to see. This one's harder to locate. Like I said, I just decided to drill a hole there. There's not enough room to sneak a bolt in. Like you could drill the hole big enough, sneak a bolt in, and use like a hex bolt tighten up with a wrench. That all sounded too much like work. So what I did was I just drilled a hole in. I put it up against the bottom here, took my little silver pencil, made a mark, drilled a hole out. It's 11/64 for me. So drill a pilot hole, step it up a couple times, and I have this unibit, and I marked the black portions, the section I don't want to cut into, so I just step up to this section, and that lets these go in really nicely. So once I did that, I cut a bolt off, the head off the bolt, cleaned up the end of my Dremel and sandpaper, threaded it backwards, checked the length, made a slight little mark on there to file, backed it back off, put some red Loctite on it, some of this magical stuff, threaded it back in, and it's kind of half stuck right at the bottom of the threads anyways because of some random burr, so it's perfect. So I just try not to play with it like I just did. So anyways, stuck it back on here. Again, Bamski, circle the hole, center punch, step up the drill bit, and then once you're at that point, use one of these little Kirby files just to kind of clean the rough edges off. You know, probably be a good idea to take it, if you had it, paint in there, fingernail polish, but I'm not super worried about that because this is just a toy. So the trick to doing this, to putting these nut zerks, are these little, it's a series of hardware. So you want to have, this is M5 by 0.0 or 0.8 pitch bolt. And that's real common size for bicycles, and that's why I use these a lot. So you'll need a bolt that's long enough to accommodate all of this. You'll need a washer, and that washer acts as like a Torrenton or a thrust bearing. Actually, as I'm playing with it, it feels a little draggy. Oh, there we go. There's a little piece of grit in there. Then I like using a flange nut because it has the riffles and the space on the bottom, and then a external star washer. And the whole point is you hold the hex portion, the star washer grips to the top of this, and that keeps this from spinning. And also you want it just enough where the serrations stick into the frame. You don't want this thing to be loose in there, because the whole way this functions is it's threaded here, but it's not threaded in this top portion. I don't know how well you guys can see in there. And what that allows it to do is mushroom out. When you put pressure on here and pull the threads towards each other, it causes it to swell out. So the better fit you have here, the better. See how it sticks in there? I gotta kind of pull it out. That's the fit you want. And like I said, this Unibit, because it works so well, is now designated. This is all in my little bicycle case. But anyways, thread this in, and that external washer keeps it from spinning. Use white lithium because you want everything to spin. Oh, and this nut here, see this hex nut? It spins, it's bigger than this bolt, the 5mm bolt. I don't remember what size it is. It's probably M6, I would guess. I use a 10mm wrench, and it's one of these little distributor wrenches, which works really good because it fits in here between my bearing and the bottom of the flange nut and doesn't bind up. So the way we do this is we just shove this in the hole, get our Allen and mater here, and you really got to work to keep this from moving and this straight. So either use a ratchet, don't use a little L wrench. I like using this when I have the room, and you just spin it. And like I said, the whole goal is 1, to get it squared, and 2, to mushroom it out. And these are not pop rivets. If you twist this thing the point it goes pop, you're in trouble. You could always go back and give these a tune-up if it's a little loose. And I've actually had bicycles before I've gotten a little water bottle cage, because that's all those things are, is these. I had them loose before, and you just do the same, put the same tool in it, create your own little tool, spare parts laying around. It's don't have to be exactly like this. It's just, this is what you're trying to accomplish, and you're trying to tighten it down. You'll feel it squish and squish and squish, and then there's one point like right there, it gets firm, and I give it like the slightest. As soon as it firms up, I give it the slightest, just the mildest, because like I said, you could always, if it's loose in there, you could always go back and tighten it up. But if it gets spinny, then you're in trouble. So just back this thing out. They're really neat. These are steel ones. You can get aluminum and brass. I'm mounting stuff to be heavy duty, so I want it on. Have another little nut zert handy, just so you can put your tool together and not lose all your pieces, because that is like a whole $1 in parts, and you've created like probably the cheapest tool you'll ever own. That's like way cool, because these things are expensive if you go to buy them. So anyways, we got our lower nut zert. I got a little nut here without it. I need to go dig it and get a nylock one. We'll do that for final. We'll stack some washers. Stick this on here. Oh. I said, it's a little awkward angle, and like again, make life easy. I'm getting this bottom one on started. Speed control stepped out of the way. Mechanic I worked with, four-wheel drive shop for years, awesome dude, Clark. One said to me, being lazy is a few more bolts, and a lot of times it is. It's thinking your job through, getting stuff out of your way, getting comfortable. A lot of times when jobs get frustrating, it's because you're like at a weird angle and you're trying to do something. Get stuff out of your way. Like you notice the foot pegs off from earlier. It's because I couldn't get the angle of the drill right. As soon as I got the foot peg off, the drill got squared, everything, I'm happy. So there we go. That's just finger tight. I'm happy with that. If somebody knocks that with their knee or does something, you know, it's gonna come loose. But you know, that works. And air gap's always good. Like I said, I'm gonna wash this bad boy up. It gives me room to run my wires down. They should all make a nice little turn right here. Connect together. I still need to come up with a switch panel thing. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with that yet, but we'll come up with a little set of some way to hold my two switches right here to tell me what's going on. You guys are all sideways, but I'm sideways. But yeah, I got my two switches here. The bonus switch, the turbo switch, and then the anti-arc switch, aka the on-off switch. Because if you just jump, I did that with another controller on another build, and I learned that lesson. You just jump these wires together and plug it together, you're instantly energizing it all up. But if you use, they call this the key switch or something, but if you put it on a switch, turn it to the off position, so off, and then energize it, and then flip the key on. Little note, see how that shaft goes down and goes towards the east pole? That's on. Every switch I've ever, you know, don't take that as gospel. Every switch I've ever come across, and see how when you move it this way, in line, it goes towards the other two. That connects, the center's common, outside, outside. I'm sorry, I digress way too much in my videos, but that is just information I feel like I like sharing with you guys, because it's little bits that just make life so much easier. But anyways, that's art control, and I'm gonna go snack on some lunch and cool off because it's getting hot. So I was putting it all together and getting dang excited, looking good. My speed controls fit on, I got clearance to my motor, everything's snugging down nice. I could run my wires, you know, back up and around, tuck-a-roo, loopy-loop. Golden, getting pretty stoked, looking like going for a ride. And then I didn't really check everything when I put it together. Figured, you know, the distance from here to here, if I move the motor back a little bit, wouldn't affect much. You know, it did. Problem is, this chain doesn't, it's laid back too much. I could either take links out of it, get it up in the way, but I don't know if taking one link will do it out. And I have a bike chain tool, but it's not really for this. I don't like doing that. There's no master link here, so I can't grind it away, and I'm too impatient to wait for even 2-day Amazon shipping. So my plan is I just wanted to show you guys my goof up, is I'm gonna unbolt this, take the spring off, and try to see if I can't eyeball and locate an area down here to put this at an area where it'll get happy, clear the chain, and still do it swing action, because this turns this way and this pulls on here. Oh yeah, this had a 9-tooth gear on it. I told you guys that originally. I tried sticking the 11 on because I feel this motor's got enough beams to get it up and going anyways, and we all like top speed on those runs. So I tried that. That actually helped a little bit. It almost got the job done, but not enough. So I think I'm just gonna, like I said, try to relocate that swing arm position. So as we make progress, I'll let you know.